what you do. You going to lead us to the money. Let's talk about it.
Well, first and foremost, it's a privilege and an honor to be here. And I want to share with everybody just 5 things. Number one, what you're witnessing right now is cooperative economics. And what do I mean by that? We have all the talent, intelligence to make trillions of dollars, but we never come together to work as a people. We got to be able to put our egos aside and work together. As my mentor, Dr. George Fraser, says, we should be the #1 employers of Black people on the planet, but we're not. And right now, what you're going to see tomorrow with Dame Dash, with diversity, with Eric, you're going to see us all working together, partnering and employing our people. That's number one. Number two, we have to be able to leverage our professional networks. And if we can leverage our networks, we can create equity and ownership in everything that we do. And at the end of the day, we got to get back to the motherland. So I'm going to help us get back to the motherland. I'm building a 220-unit luxury residential resort. It's opening up on Martin Luther King's birthday, 2024. And just like you guys, I don't do anything unless I own it and have equity in it 100%. I don't advertise for anybody because why give somebody else? And so that's what it's about. So we put a system together called the 7 Spheres of Money, where we work with professionals, accounting firms, mortgage firms, legal firms, real estate firms, all Black owned since 2000. So that's what I've been doing. And that's why I'm excited to be here, to partner with diversity and bring Dame Dash to show us cooperative economics, leverage our professional network, equity and ownership. That's what it's about.
All right, everybody, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. And this show is brought to you by the DJ the Money Coach team and the 7 Spheres of Money systems. And before we get into the beach for tonight, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to DJ the Money Coach right here on YouTube to help us spread the word, the gospel of the POM POM Lifestyle movement. And what is the POM POM Lifestyle movement? POM POM is plenty of money, peace of mind. And part of the POM POM Lifestyle movement is you joining us on the beaches of the World Club. And tonight's beach is the recap of the Go Entrepreneur Experience in Houston last weekend. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in and tell you all about what you missed if you weren't there, if you didn't catch it, and how, even though you might have missed it, it's still not too late for you to share that Go Entrepreneurship experience. So DJ, the Money Coach, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, Nick? You know what I say, man. TGIF, thank goodness it is Friday, and any day that you have your health is a great day, brother. But today is the best day of 2023. Other than hanging out with you, our team, and my family, this is the third best day on our platform because we have an opportunity to really show our people about the 5 principles that we live by. We only preach what we teach. Number 1, cooperative economics. That's us as a community working together, side by side, and being the number 1 employer of ourselves and being the number 1 business enterprisers together. Number 2, we leverage our professional networks. And that's what you're going to see on display massively tonight. And as you'll see from the Go Entrepreneur Tour with the amazing Dame Dash. Number 3, we build ecosystems and we bring successful ecosystems together and create interdependent relationships is what we're doing tonight to make a better world for us. And last but not least, number 4 is equity. And number 5 is ownership. And this gentleman that's coming up tonight embodies all 5 of those principles. He's been doing it for over 40 years. And to my knowledge, when I first heard about him, at least 30 years. And that shows he got staying power. And most importantly, what I like about what I learned about this amazing gentleman is that he is the consummate professional. Consummate professional. And what I mean by that, you know, we talk about the 4x4, Nick. I want you to put that up. And in order to have sustainable success like Dame Dash, you have to live, eat, and sleep the 4x4. And he had it on display in diamonds, or as we say, in spades. Number one, the 4 dirty little words. First one is discipline. Man, this man showed impeccable discipline the whole entire time. And having diabetes and able to have such stamina was amazing in of itself. So he showed us discipline. Number 2, he showed us accountability. The man showed up. He served, a servanthood leadership heart, even when he was asked to do stuff that wasn't part of the original game plan. He did not complain, and he just did the job. That's accountability. Number 3, he plugged into his system, which is the Dame Dash Network, American You, his family. He brought his beloved family with him as well, and that was impressive. And then number 4, like any entrepreneur, what he and I both talk about, just put your head down and go to work and don't complain. I did not see this man complain not one freaking time. And they had him out to the wee hours in the morning, in the early day, and this guy never complained at all. He just put his head down and went to work. And then when you get to the 4 Ps, you're talking about, if you look up in the dictionary, professionalism, you'll see a picture of Dame Dash. And what do I mean by that? Number 1, the brother honored his word. Number 2, he was on time. Number 3, he spoke the King's English, which was business, hip hop, and professionalism all wrapped into one. Number 2, persistence. He told us the stories about his ability to go from the street to the C-suite and how he was able to overcome a lot of adversity and turn it into lemonade. Impeccable persistence to following his plan. Number 3, perseverance. He talked about being a single parent, child, and overcoming some of the tragic things that happened in his life, that he didn't allow that to set him back, because the only dream that he could understand was the dream that God gave him, and he lives and walks and breathes by that principle. And number 4, everybody knows the man is a performer. He's performed to a maximum level of millions of dollars of revenue in 4 or 5 different industries. And he went from, starting out, as he'll tell you, being out a street hustler, to being a record founder, to being in the fashion industry on the back end, which is unprecedented for a Black man or a Black woman. Then he took that, and now he's creating his own streaming service, and he's incorporate that with his, significant other, with creating children's books and going out across the country with over 100 Black principals and giving back to our community, man. That is the embodiment of the 4x4. So what I want these people to do right now is to chime in, tell us where you're from, where you're calling from, where you're coming from. And I want you to stand up and give a round of applause to the amazing man who's a man's man, the incomparable Damon Dash.
What's happening? Appreciate that. Thank you.
What's happening, brother? I appreciate you, man. And I mean each and every those words. I don't say those lightly. Having a chance to observe you and how you carry and go about your business, it was something that our people need to see, and not play the victim role, which you had people that were making excuses at the event, and you kindly educated them without trying to hurt their feelings, but showed them the reality of entrepreneurship. So I just want to say thank you to your team. Thank you to Shaw. Thank you to Teddy. Thank you to your beloved Raquel, your son Dusko, Nikki, who's the videographer, who actually you told a lot of people about. Only people work with you as people who have dreams. I remember we were up on stage and you're talking to the professor from Rice. He was like, somebody's got to be a receptionist. And you're like, yeah, they're going to be a receptionist for a minute, but they got to have a dream to not be a receptionist after 2-3 weeks, so they can get to to the C-suite themselves. And that almost went over his head. Want to say thank you also to Diversity for Dr. Andrea Matthews and Claudia DeRoby and Dr. Anthony Penn at Circle that actually enabled us to do a legendary first on the prestigious, University of Rice University. So I just wanted to get that out there, brother, before we jump into this amazing interview and recap of the Go Entrepreneur Tour. So let's kick it off and tell us, man, how did you feel about the reception that you received in Houston, brother?
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. And, when I go into marketplaces that I haven't been in, that I've heard about, I like to observe. I like to see what the vibe is, what people are really doing and how much style they have. But people were really nice and they were very receptive to someone being receptive to them, which I found shocking because, Houston is popping and there's a lot of wealthy people there. But even in places like that, people aren't paying attention sometimes and people feel left out and unheard. So I felt like they felt heard and that they were receptive to what I was saying because I was only trying to empower them. And I was, I was entertained. I was happy. So Houston got an A+ for me. And as a result, today on American New Tonight, we'll be broadcasting live from 1550 in Houston, or 5015. I want to make sure I say it right. Steve's spot.
5150.
5150. And again, I was impressed because he owned the 5150 and across the street, he owned the other club and they was both popping. And the night before, I had eaten at his restaurant and, he was polite and nice enough to send Raquel some food when she didn't go out the next day. So, it felt like family.
Man, that hospitality down here is amazing, isn't it?
Definitely. People are generally nice. And, you could tell that friendship is valued.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not from Houston. I'm originally a Chicagoan. And I felt the same way, Dame, when I came down here over 12 years ago. And they just embraced us because they saw the integrity that we possess and how we're trying to service our community. So what I like to do, man, is start back for, the people that may not know, Dame Dash and how you gave the oral history of your, beginnings, which were very humble, and how you kept your humility once you arrived at the top, and then how you came up, down, up, and down. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about who Dame Dash was when he was 12 years old.
12-year-old Dame Dash. I was in PS6. I might have been in the 6th or 7th grade. So I was still burning through the white boy schools, private school and things of that nature. And I was wondering if I was so powerful because white people were so weak. And I was curious to know if I could be as strong with black people in the hood. So I had this sort of insecurity if I was exactly who I thought I was, only because I felt like I was a bully to weak people, So it made me actually, yearn for the hood. But I was always a smart guy, smart ass. I don't think I ever let anybody tell me something that I didn't agree with without me saying something back. And I was always prepared to defend myself. And, I come from a pretty strong family. Dusko. Come here. I come from a pretty strong family. What he does when he hears me talking, he talks. I already know his game. Thank you.
What's happening, Dusko? How you doing, Raquel?
Hey, go say hello.
Come say hi.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Didn't get a chance to say hello to Dusko in person, but I knew he was in holding Houston down at the museums.
Oh yeah, hey friends.
So our friends.
How you doing, Dusko?
Let Dad do something. So, 12-year-old Dame Dash was ambitious, insecure, and confident at the same time, you know. But I always knew that because my name was Dame Dash, that I was a superhero. I just always knew that name was hot. I was always aware of that.
So what kind of competitive edge did that give you when you realized that white people were average and they were actually not superior to us, but in most cases, when everything's equal, we're superior to them? What kind of edge did that give you? Because reason why I asked you this, Dame, is because my parents, when I was growing up, because we're in the same age group, they used to always tell me, you know, DJ, you got to work twice as hard to get half is what the white man got. And like you, I went to private white schools too. And when I came up against them, I didn't see anything special about them. They were just regular human beings and we were just wiping the floor with them. So what advantage did that give you in the regular world dealing with the stuff that you did as you started to progress through life from 14 to 18, as you were telling the story at Rice?
I just never felt any fear from them. And, you know, it was this thing where when you know somebody's soft and you watch them act tough to people that aren't aware of how soft you are, and they're taking advantage of the people, and you actually care about those people, it makes you kind of not respect certain elements of that person. And it just gives you no fear, but it makes you want to change things. So, you know, again, I look at my culture like my family. And if anybody disrespected my cousin, my kids, or anybody with the last name Dash, I feel like they're actually disrespecting me because they know that person is with me. And I've made it clear that my culture is with me. I'm with my culture. So you disrespect my culture, I don't care what I got. I'm going to have to defend them. And, you know, for me, I always look at things almost like war. Your dreams is a war, and someone got to go. So I'd rather it be them, or Leo or Cohen, or someone from another culture that's been punishing my culture, than to have to hurt somebody that doesn't deserve it. So, you know, I look at Batman. They looked at him as a criminal, even though he was fighting for good. Even the people that were saying he was a criminal still call him when they need him. So that's why I look at myself like Batman. You know, I'm here to punish those that are punishing my culture by waking my culture up, not only giving them the problems, but giving them the solutions, making them aware of things that they weren't paying attention to because of programming, you know, and also trying to break cycles that don't behoove us. So if there's a cycle that works well for us, we should keep doing it. But it's insanity to go through generations and making the same cycle happen over and over again because of lack of knowledge of self. So I'm understanding that they took our history from us. They took our gods from us, as well they should. That's what you do when you conquer somebody. It is what it is. We were on the worst end of that. But once you become aware of the fuckery, then you have to make it your responsibility not to look away and to fight. And what comes with fight is purpose. What comes with purpose is happiness. What comes with no purpose is depression. So as long as I got a war to fight, and it's the right fight for love, I'll always be inspired. And I don't think anyone's allowed to get tired when they go to war. And again, when I'm fighting for my dreams, I'm at war. The problem is when I win the war, I want another one. And what people don't understand about business, especially when you approach it with your own bread, is when you turn a business on until it turns over, you're bleeding, you're burning, you're just paying money and you're living off cash flow. I make a conscious decision. Dusko! I make a conscious decision to break myself, go broke every time and start from scratch because I'm so confident that I can't lose. And I don't care how long it takes. So one of my friends from the Best Out, which is a crew that I was a part of when I was younger, Steve Mack, he's the guy that when Jay battled DMX, it was really me versus him. But he's here. And he was talking about how long they were teasing me before I was talking about it. But what came out was it was years of them teasing all my artists and me not caring what anybody said until I got there. But once I got there, everyone forget how long it took. It feels like it happened overnight, and it's not. But I already know. I already know how bad you're supposed to feel before you feel good. So when it gets dark, I already know the dawn is coming. I actually look forward to it when it gives people anxiety based on algorithm. And again, when you crack a business, when in your 20s, it's too easy. So I'm just looking for more things to conquer and more people that I love to save.
How did you make your first $1 million? Because what you talk about is so relevant that real entrepreneurs, they don't understand what you just said. I'm like you. I put my money in everything I do. I don't ask other people for handouts. I build up my own, funds, and then I invest, and I usually give myself a 5-year plan in order to actually make it profitable, because the first year, I believe, is learn and develop, your intelligence and your experience. The second year,
learn and burn.
Yeah, learn and burn is what you say. I say learn and get the experience. The second year for us is more like seeing the same video over and over and start developing a actual steady, consistent expertise. In the third year, people come to you as the resident expert. In the fourth and fifth year, it starts to multiply and compound into the money and the empire and the legacy that you want. So what industry did you endeavor in, Dame, that you created your first $1 million? Because you talked about this at Rice, how it was hard for you as a teenager taking, instruction from a teacher when you made more money and had a better whip than they had. So you couldn't understand why you were listening to them.
Yeah. I mean, for me, school is a funny thing. It's full of contradictions. So it's like there'll be a professor teaching you business that never did business, a professional teaching you music that never sold a record, and you don't listen to, get my children at least, they're my hardest critic, and they'll listen to this professor that is teaching them about business, even though I'm paying them because he's not on scholarship, even though he's watched me give him millions in child support because his mother would put me in jail if I didn't pay, no matter what I made. And by the way, never base your bills or your child support on your best year. Never do that. Always do it on your worst year. And, what were we talking about? I just forgot.
What business were you in to make your first $1 million?
It was, the music.
Yeah, just keep it real with us, like you told us at Rice.
Yeah, again, we made a lot of money when we were young. Enough to where if an adult was telling me what to do and they didn't have what I wanted or had what I had, I wasn't listening. So I had a car when I was 16, a Box Max, and I parked in the principal spot, got kicked out of school, went to West Side High, I had a 300Z, parked in, the principal's name was Frankie. She told me, like, yo, we just gonna say because you late, but because you keep parking in my spot, you out of here. And they just never respected the fact that the logic. I'm like, yo, I don't want to live like you. I don't want to dress like that. I don't want to get up this early in the morning for that much money. I'm not hustling for a Friday and taking a job because the summers are off. I'm not doing that. So, it's been hard to listen to anyone unless they've been in the game. But being a cheerleader of the game and telling me what you think should happen based on an intuition, there's no algorithm with that. That's not a behavior pattern I'm listening to. And unfortunately, the people that I looked at when I was younger were people that were getting money the wrong way, but survival mode makes you do certain things. But again, fast money I've never seen be consistent. It's never sustainable. So anything that, like, I've been fighting for this network for 10 years, learning it. You know, some people get into a business without understanding the business model. They just want to do it because they know how it feels to be rich and famous, but they don't know exactly where the money comes from. So for me, because I'm a boss, I'm always putting in my own bread. I don't want to waste no time. I always got to know how the money's made, you know? So I don't know. I made my first million before I was 20, I think.
Wow.
But I put it like this. I stopped counting my money a long time ago. I never want to know how much I got. And the only time they tell me how much I got is when it ain't nothing there, when it's zero. It's the only time they tell me that there ain't no money. And I'll be like, why you didn't tell me a week before? You know, I can handle these things. You know what I mean? Well, you don't want to hear nothing negative and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know, so I don't know. I stopped counting the bread. I think if you count the bread, you get scared to invest it.
Man,
You know,
can you say that again, brother?
If you count the bread, you'll be scared to invest it because you're too scared. For me, you know, the ocean is behind me. It ain't no backing up. It's only moving forward or I die. I gotta win. And when you keep winning and that's your algorithm, it makes you dream bigger. I'm just a dreamer, you know, and I stay dreaming about doing things I love and making money off it, which is the hardest thing to do. It's very, like, not hard, but it takes a lot of architecting, you know, to do something that doesn't feel like work, so that if you don't make no money, at least you had a priceless experience, you know? So I do things that even if I don't make no money, I have mad fun, and I'm usually doing something that someone would be paying to be at anyway, other than me getting paid, you know? So yeah, if you could get paid for something that you would pay for, that's the dream.
Okay. So you made that first million, and then when did you start Rockefeller, and how did that come together, and what was the exit on Rockefeller? Because I think that's when you came on the scene that we as a community knew who you were outside of Harlem and New York. Is that correct, or would I be wrong saying that?
Yeah, probably. The records, nobody knew me before that. I thought you couldn't have told me that. I thought I was internationally known because I'm Dame Dash. But yeah, the music business definitely gave us the platform to showcase who we were. And, you know, not even on purpose, but because if any of my artists were lacking anything, I would, as a manager, you know, I'd fill that void. Pause. Even if it meant, you know, if an artist like Jay was terrible on the stage, I had to jump on the stage. You know, if someone is loud or not loud enough and they need to be heard, I'd have to be loud for them. You know, so I ended up just as famous as my artist. Today, I remember I say about my man Steve Mack. That's Steve Mack. I went to high school with him.
What's happening, Steve Mack?
All right. Everything
So-
good.
Peace.
All right now.
What are we talking about again?
We're talking about Rockefeller entry and then exit of what happened at Rockefeller, how you put it together and how you exited out.
Yeah, so, you know, like I was saying, for us, like when I got in the business and we did it one way, we would, you know, we tried to get signed, then we put up our own bread, then we got partners. And it was always the intention to do everything. You know, I was very confident that I was the best dressed and I had the best experiences to make movies from, and that I just felt that my experience was so authentic that anything I made would be authentic, you know? So I was getting, you know, I was always fresh. And even to this day, the next business that I'm doing is I'm trying to build a car just because I think I could make a cooler car. Not that I know engineering, you understand what I'm saying? And I know I can make a sample of a car for shortbread, but it's the engineering. Well, you know, I was at one point after Rockefeller, we sold Rockefeller and Rachel Roy. I was running the CEO. I was training to be the CEO of Malcolm Bricklin's electric car company. And he had the Bricklin out years ago, but he was coming back with the electric, and it was Tesla, the Fisker, and us. And I was learning a lot. And, at that time, it was so long ago that, the electric business has been around for a while, but the car companies didn't want to divest because their factories were built for cars that weren't electric. So when the industry changes and you're invested in something, either you're going to sell your shit for cheap or you got to wait it out. And then there was no parts for the cars. There was no batteries for the cars. There was no car dealers. So when you're first, you have to develop all of those industries. People have to learn how to repair them shits. So we were learning about all these different things. But at the end of the day, it was about you can make well, at the end of the day, at that time, the economy cracked. We couldn't get our second rounding funds for round. And I ended up taking this big ass building and I turned it into an art gallery. But either way, what I learned and what I understand is you can make a model, but the engineering is what costs all the bread. That costs about $100 million because you got to make every single part. You got to create it and it got to work and all these kind of things. So, everything that I see that I do for fun, I try to make and sell. And what people have to understand is if you make a sneaker or you make a piece of clothing or food, someone got to go. Meaning, instead of them buying what they used to buy, now they got to buy yours. And to make somebody buy something new and they're used to doing something else, you have to be really good, or it takes about 10 years to be a brand so people actually trust that you are authentic and have heritage in what you're doing. So, for me, while I was doing Rockefeller, I was developing the clothing line. But what I learned with Rockefeller, I had 3 partners, and first Def Jam was a partner, so they got half, and then we were busting it down 3 ways. That was not enough money. And the way they spend to sell records, your margins weren't enough. Your EBITDA, which is what you base your exit plan on, is usually a multiple times EBITDA, right? I've sold a couple of companies, so I know. And the music business to me was like, it didn't make enough money. So I was like, and I was splitting it with them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the clothing, put a different name on it so they won't own it, and use this as a loss leader and cash out on the clothes. And that's why the 360 deal was invented, because I had shitted on Lior and Todd Moskowitz and was laughing at him. I was like, you ain't getting none of this. You got Rockefeller, you got me for that. But now you're my marketing. I'm going to market everything. So that's why every video at Rockware, I started making movies called Stay Property, because they didn't own none of that. But, of course, I had partners that owned half of Rockware, and then me and Jay was busting it down. And in hindsight, what I learned there was they shouldn't have owned half our brand. They should have licensed it, but we didn't know. So to give us volume, they wanted half the company. I just looked at it like, yo, I'm not putting up no bread. Y'all can get half. But I didn't have to put up no bread, and they could have licensed it. They could have rented my name. But I had to learn.
Right.
But that's why, based on what I learned with music, I'm doing it different. Then when I went to make movies and understood the game of movie making and television, and my first experience was with Harvey Weinstein and Bob. And again, I was flipping on them. I couldn't understand why anybody thought this sludge of a man, was tough. He was a clown to me. And I knew, because we were in the same social circle, that he wasn't putting up no money. He was raising money. So I was like, you don't even put up, you get out of here, man. And don't you ever talk to me like that. But either way, based on paid in full, I was like, I got to do that myself. So I was like, I got to do the music myself. I got to do the clothes myself. I got to do the movies myself. Television is the illest scam, because that's just about a scam. And we can get into that later. But the production, what happens is if you have a story, you sell your rights to a production company. The production company sells your rights to a network, and the network just gives you a salary now or a fee to make it. You own nothing, and you have no say-so on anything creative, and you don't really get any back. And if there is, they're cooking the books. And they only let white production companies, all these black reality shows like E1. I put money on their head and sued them. I didn't like it, So I got to do all this shit myself. It don't make sense to outsource. Like if I'm a network, why wouldn't I make my own shit? If I'm a label and I make music videos, why would I outsource? I just buy cameras and direct them shits or put a director on salary. All the things. Whenever there's a corporate industry and everything is outsourced, that's all for the skim. And that's what the government is as well. They don't own any construction companies that I know of. They don't own anything. They just pay people to do shit. And it's supposed to be with taxpayers' money. Or it's with the money they print up that's not backed by no gold. And just build up $1 trillion debt that we never gonna pay back. So there's no value in money. And people corporately do things so a middleman could do a skim. So my thing is, if I get good at all these things creatively, I could do it myself, which is what I've been doing. And I won't have to raise money, and I can be patient. So everything in every business that I turn over was always a flip. I was never trying, and still am not trying to look at no money until it's at least $500 million to look at. I don't want to be worth shit. I want to have liquid. Pause. And I need to have enough money to put money on somebody's head and pay lawyers. Because what also happens is when you don't have a lot of money, or when you're paying for your business from your pocket, you ain't got no money for $200,000 or $300,000 in lawyers. You got to get back to that shit when you got time for it. Because lawyers are assholes. They do the most overcharging.
Oh my goodness.
Any service you pay for by the hour that's not in front of you, you getting played. Period. And that's another, like right now, I wouldn't let nobody write a movie for me unless they was in front of me, because I'm gonna think they're using AI. So, I know I went off track, but the point is, every business that I have, I use as a step to get to another business. The reason why I could is because I enjoy it so much, because it's mostly entertainment. But now I made a movie, directed a movie on government contracts, and now I understand that play and how important it is to be Black in America and how much money there is, but no one knows what they got money for, so there isn't nobody that got it. Like owning a factory and being a Black man. So now I'm looking at all the stuff that even instinctually I was doing, thinking I was a boss, but there's other things that I should be doing that will make me a real boss. So curriculums and creating jobs and making sure my culture gets the therapy for the unrecognized trauma, and economically educating and not letting people get jerked again. So that's why I'm making such a stance with my America New network, because again, when I want to have a network, I'm thinking like a boss, how you get paid. And I'm not going through a middleman to get ads, because they never tell you how much they make off the ads. They just give you what they want.
Hey, do me a favor. Do me a favor, Dame. Let's take a quick break, because that's a very serious topic, and I want you to explain to them the YouTube, scam as well. So let us take a little quick break to show them a couple of clips from Inside Go Entrepreneur, if that's okay with you, my brother.
Oh yeah, I mean, whatever y'all want to do, it's your show.
Nick, cue it up. You're watching Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and our special guest, Dame Dash, recapping the Go Entrepreneur Tour, what is the first of its ever at Rice University. We'll be right back after these quick messages from us for us.
People on this live? People on this live?
Yes, sir.
How many people? You can see?
Yeah, Nick can tell us.
You want me to tell you right now before we go to the break? We got about 20 people.
Yeah, we're small. We're small.
Live is a whole other thing. It's on demand. What you got to do is you got to edit this up and put Dame Dash says this and let it go viral.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
TikTok thing.
Absolutely. Hey, Nick, let's show them a little insight to what Dame brought to them at Rice University. And we'll be right back in about 2 minutes and 2 seconds, guys.
All right.
I just had to do.
Don't come to the party unprepared. Number one, tell me what your skill is and tell me what your passion is. Did y'all hear me? Tell me what your skill is and tell me what your passion is. Number two, tell me what niche you can create in a market like Bowers did. He took the kolache and took it to Colorado Springs. Make sure you understand and listen to what I'm telling you. Tell me your skill. Tell me your passion. Tell me your niche. And number three, tell me how you want to get in front of people. And if you can answer those three questions, call me. If not, don't waste your time and don't waste our time. And see, I'm going to keep it real with you. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Crystal clear.
You're witnessing right now is cooperative economics. And what do I mean by that? We have all the talent, intelligence to make trillions of dollars, but we never come together to work as a people. We got to be able to put our egos aside.
Again, I'm about definitely collective economics and definitely collective economics as it relates to cultures. But if we going to be all in one city, at one point or some point, we got to be the landlords. They could be here, but we got to own the bricks so we can make the laws
And work together. And my mentor, Dr. George Fraser, says we should be the number one employers of Black people on the planet, but we're not. And right now, what you're going to see tomorrow with Dame Dash, with diversity, with Derek, you're going to see us all working together.
All right, we're back. You're back watching Family Finance Friday, recap of the Go Entrepreneur Tour at Rice University with the headliner, Dame Dash. And guys, Dame Dash brought it all to the university. He gave them an education that was beyond priceless. And you know what the seminal moment was for me, Dame, is when two brothers who got their MBAs from Rice University, and I don't know if you remember this, the brother almost looked like he was about to cry. He said, I needed to learn what Dame and these guys are teaching because I got an MBA at this prestigious university, and they didn't teach me how to set up operations, marketing, accounting, legal. They just gave me a whole bunch of information on paper. And I felt sorry for him at that point in time. Did you remember that, Dame? I think you're on mute. And unmute him, Nick.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that. I mean, you know, again, that's the problem I'm having with my my son. How do you expect to, you know, understand what's really happening from someone that's never really been on the concrete? To me, the best school is experience or someone that has actual experience. So either you learn while you burn or you learn from someone else that learned while they burn.
How did you develop the mindset, which we should start teaching more of, because you talk to those people about, you know, being a boss, being your own CEO, putting your own money on the table. But why don't more of us do that, Dame? I think it's tied into the mental, you know, block that they have. And you expound upon that a lot at Rice. And a lot of people, it was going over their heads, especially when you talk to that professor about the movie that you made and he was trying to break it down and you took it to a level over his head. Talk to us about why we lack the confidence to invest in ourselves, control everything, and why you've been able to bridge that gap and create a legacy for you and your family and show the example to our community.
I mean, I think that's programming. We're taught not to dream, to be able to visualize exactly what we want to happen. We're taught to visualize what they want us to want to happen so that they can control us. You know, visualize school and college, visualize a job, and visualize retiring at 90. You know, to me, that's a nightmare. Also, we're programmed not to give ourselves affirmations. We're programmed to think that if we think highly of ourselves and speak about it, that we're cocky, arrogant, and, you know, big-headed. So, but if you go to a yogi, they tell you the first thing, meditate, affirmations every day, tell yourself you're the best. So we have to make sure we continue to reinforce that. And we're taught that we need them to do anything. We're taught not to ask questions. You know, it's a programming. So again, the best way to keep a slave at bay and calm is to not let the slave know that they're actually a slave. Make them think they're free, you know, and give them one version of slavery so that you only think that's slavery. But to me, people making money off you and not telling you how much they're making and paying you what they want to is slavery. And if it happens in the form of a CPM on YouTube, where a content creator busts their ass, gets paid from YouTube based on the ad that YouTube got for somebody else, and they're giving you pennies on the dollar and don't give you anybody to call to even ask about accounting, that's slavery. It's digital slavery. But if you ask someone that's making $50,000 a month on YouTube, they think they are rolling. If someone that's never made no money getting 100 a month, they think they are killing it while somebody just made $10 million and laughing at you. So you think you rolling and you really a slave. You think you free because you got more money than most slaves, but somebody's still pimping you. And as a businessman, I'm not going to just say I'm good at business in one vertical. In any business, I need to know how the money's made, because that's what business is, money made. So if you in business and you talking about business for a living, how are you getting robbed when it comes to the business model? How are you not even asking any questions? You know why? Because you're getting paid in fame. Because everybody knows that people equate fame to money. That feeling of being seen will make somebody say, I don't care how much I'm getting paid, I'm getting seen.
Hey, Dave, can I interject? You saw the movie Cadillac Man?
Yeah, a little bit.
With your boy Mos Def and Beyonce. Remember when Mos Def was playing Chuck Berry and they went to the radio station with the Jew boy and they sat down and the Jewish general manager told Chuck Berry, who was played by Mos Def, he said, hey, I'm going to make you famous, but I'm going to make my Jew boy partner rich. And then Mos Def, as Chuck Berry, got up and said, no, you sit here, you make him famous, and you're going to make me rich. And a lot of people, that stuff went right over their head. So talk to him, Dame, about the actual numbers that YouTube is doing, that when you talk to that professor, you just shut him down and he couldn't even comprehend what you were saying. Tell him what YouTube made last quarter and what these influencers made. And this is why I always tell people, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a businessman, just like you are. And I can care less about having 1 million views on these platforms as long as I'm taking care of B2B deals, doing 7 and 8 figure deals. Talk to them about that, because they need to understand and explain to them, to those uninformed, what CPMs are.
Well, number one, CPM is supposed to be how much you get paid clicks per million people, but it's less than 1 million, from the best of what I understand. So if you get a commercial or someone pays as a commercial, they might be paying $20. So it'll be like $20 per CPM. So what YouTube does is they'll give you $4, they'll cap it at 4, they just cut it down to 2, and they get the rest. So YouTube made last quarter $6 billion, and they only paid out $100 million to their content creators.
Nick, put that across the screen. Put that across the screen so these uninformed, so-called successful, influencers, YouTubers, and ideas. And I ain't got no hate for them, but go ahead, keep educating them on the game. Dame.
So that means you're basically making $1 every time they make 600. $100 every time they make 6,000. So what it would mean is, because again, I never put my stuff on YouTube because I knew they were robbing. I just got to figure it out. But if you had the same kind of traffic that you get on YouTube and you were getting at least even 50%, 40%, even 30%, you would be making about at least 30x what you're making now. I would say 100, but that's why I call it slavery. And no one's asked because the business is new and everyone just accepts it. And if you ask a content creator who's rolling, who has it, have you ever asked YouTube? They'll go, there's no one to talk to but Tuma.
That was the funniest part.
But the crazy thing is, Lior, I warned everybody about Lior. I watched what he did to music, and I kicked him out the music business completely. So what did he do? He went to the digital business, and what do you think he's going to do there? He's going to rob us blind and put a black man as the figurehead. So when we mad at that black man, just like he used to do to Kevin Louse. You know? So I don't know why, if you don't trust somebody in one industry, why would you trust them in another? And why wouldn't you ask? Because I know if I even attempted to do that shit to somebody, they would be like, how much you getting? And just grill me. But because it's YouTube or Tubi or Pause Peacock or Paramount, no one asked. So I called Congress and I asked, y'all know about this? And Congressman was like, I never looked at it that way. Yeah, because you're not in that business. So what happens in new business is people take advantage of the politicians that don't know the business and get laws passed that behoove them. Because the creator does not know to go talk to a congressman or a city council. They're too busy being creative, nor do they have the money. So the person with the money that's looking to exploit the creative is the one that's going to go to Congress and get laws passed that behoove them and not the artist. And that's traditionally what's happened. So what I'm saying is, people, just the last year, 2 or 3, it got cool to be independent. But 10 years ago when I was saying it, everybody was saying I was bugging. Don't have 100 years of getting robbed and telling me I'm bugging to try to be like, now let's do it right. Let's stop the abuse early so our kids could get that money and you don't have to do other things and you can focus on your creativity. So I'm not going to just tell you a problem without a solution. That's why I created my own. And we built our own. I got with somebody, because you can't have a network if you ain't got ads or a real good ad team, sales. So we built our own portal and we went right past YouTube and Tubi, and they get it from Pablo, we get it from Pablo. But the difference is we don't want to rob nobody. I want everybody to be rich.
Why is that so important that everybody in your inner circle is rich? I know why, but can you explain to the novice and naive person that's uninformed how that will eliminate the things that tear us down by helping them be rich too?
First of all, for me, I'm reckless. So if everybody's rich, I can't go broke. I could always get a little bit from somebody and don't hurt them. But again, for me, the more partners I have, the more powerful I am. And love is my currency. That's what makes me feel good. I've always loved watching the people I care about be happy. I mean, it's a gift and a curse to care, to have feelings. Most people don't give a, and the reason why I care about my creatives is because I am one. I just was pretending to be a businessman so that I could do creative things freely. But I hate business. I want to play all day. I want to have fun. But as a man, my family got to eat. I could always make money for me. I don't think my kids are ever going to be as tough as me because I don't want them to. That means they went through as much pain as I've gone through. I definitely don't want my grandkids feeling that. I want them to be soft, pause, but I want them to be protected. All I want them to have to do is give to charity from the trust. That's the only thing I'm going to need you to do. If you want to do something else, do it. but I just want, you know, when you start being around people that are like third, second generation wealth, and you see that there could be a whole 70 straight years of never being worried about money, and us, that's not even fathomable. There are people that have never had to worry about money every second of their life because of what their father did and grandfather. And I'm that grandfather. You know, I'm preparing my grandkids to live a nice, plushy life. I'm not trying to prepare them to be 99%ers. I might prepare them to help the 99%. I ain't preparing you to survive. I want to prepare you to take my wealth that we created for the family to another level. And it's your responsibility, if you can, to make sure that your grandkids live the same easy life as you. But I'm gonna lay that blueprint.
Man, that makes absolute sense. We're gonna do something that we normally don't. If it's okay with you, Dame, can we take a couple of questions from people to, you know, pick Dame's brain like we did at Rice University, just to give them a better understanding and maybe give them a blueprint of some of the key things they need to do to start thinking like a boss, to become a boss, and then create cooperative economics. Because the thing I'm excited about, Dame, is that we've talked about working together with our partners, you know, over at Grab TV, which I thought was amazing that you actually saw their technology, like they said, what was like 10, 12 years ago, that they brought it to your table and it got shot down by somebody in your organization. And now today,
Big shot it down. That's what I heard.
And now today we had a chance to chop it up on Friday and especially Saturday night, introduce you to Lincoln and Justin again. And we showed you this disruptive technology that was created by us. And a lot of things that we don't understand, which you know firmly, Dame, is that most of the disruptive technologies on the planet were created by a black man or a black woman. And
electricity was created by a black man. He was working on top of medicine. He took credit for it. Peanut butter, everything was probably invented by music. The origination of life is in Africa and everything that come with it.
Man, you ain't never lied. So I'm excited that we're gonna partner up again on the second, third, and fourth leg of the tour. Bring Dame Dash to Zanzibar. Bring Dame Dash to Florida, right in your backyard, and Miami Gardens. So what I want to do real quickly, and we're gonna wrap it up because you're a busy man. I appreciate you taking time away from your lovely family and your business partners. We're gonna take one more quick break, and then we're gonna come back, get a couple of questions from the audience, and then let's talk about the projects that we're looking to do together and talk about the last leg of the tour, Dame, ending in our 220 luxury residential resort in Zanzibar that I own, you know, equity and ownership completely with the technology of Grab TV and American News. So guys, we'll be right back. You're watching Family Finance Friday, the recap with Dame Dash for the Go Entrepreneur Tour. And we'll be right back after these couple of messages from us for us.
Like to get financial education from somebody who makes less money than you make, have less assets than you have, and never have created anything of success.
We have us a Go Entrepreneur Experience Tour, and my first guest for my panel is going to be DJ the Money Coach.
We're creating history. How many of you like to get financial education from somebody who makes less money than you make, have less assets than you have, and never have created anything of success better than you have? Not created, like my man Dame Dash. It's called the 7 Spheres of Money. And I bridge the gap so that you can get the same service that Goldman Sachs will give to an accredited investor. How many of you?
This is DJ the Money Coach with Financially Free D. We're here in the amazing Zanzibar at what beach?
Nwingi Beach.
That's right, and we're living the POM POM Lifestyle. That plenty of money, peace of mind. Come join us on the beaches of the World Club, Zanzibar style.
Zanzibar, baby.
All right, we're back. We're back.
All right, yeah, we're back. You're watching live Family Finance Fridays with DJ the Money Coach. We're recapping the Go Entrepreneur legendary first educational symposium and an oral history with the amazing Dame Dash, who's an icon, and most importantly, he's a better family man than he is a businessman. And we're going to talk about the importance of fatherhood with Dame Dash and the importance of a patriarch system over a matriarch system. So we're back. So Dame, talk to us about why it's so important to be in the life of your children, as you talked about at Rice, and which I thought was very important because you talked about the challenges and the losses that you took from not being around your first set of children, and why you've made it a point to do everything centered around your wife and your current Dusko son, and how that is the most important thing on the planet, man. Can you talk to us? Because a lot of Black men out there, they're abdicating their role, and they need to see what a real example of fatherhood done the right way is. Well, we got him on mute again. Unmute him, Nick.
This is what, everything I'm fighting for is for my children. But, the thing that brings me the most joy is spending time with my children. So a good part of the beginning of my career, even though I actually went to court, and no one talks about the fact that I was a single father for Boogie at 8 years old during the height of all Rockefeller. I made sure I came home every morning and took him to school, but I missed the majority of the day. And time is something you can't buy back. And kids don't age backwards. They're only children for the second, and they're grown, and there's nothing you can do about it. But look at pictures, and that time is priceless. So for me, it became important to architect a business that I would be able to work with my child and the girl that I love. My other children's moms, it was very dysfunctional. I had to visit my children, which meant that my child, as babies, had to be away from the person they loved the most to be around the person they loved the most. It meant that they had to hear from the person they loved the most bad things about the person they loved the most. And what I also realized is, like Steve Mack, he's in the best out, right? I known him for 20 years. And, I got love for him, but I ain't gonna never say I love him more than my children. Like, he should never love me more than his children. But if he ever I could never have a beef with my homeboy's mother. That's my man. If he had somebody he's cool with and I got beef with him, he'd be like, yo, that's my man. I'd be like, all right, we good. So how could I ever have beef with the person I love the most mother, which is my children? So that's why I had to let a lot of things slide with Rachel, because she definitely messed up a lot of bread, But my model has always been architect a life where you're making your girl's dreams come true, making sure that when you have a business, that your business revolves all of y'all. So when y'all work together. So that was the purpose of Rocky writing a book about Dusko and our dog and me in it, so that when we go and perform it, we all have to go as a family. And, I've never been able to just wake up with my sons or my daughters without knowing that they have to leave soon, or when you have a child that you don't see for weeks, it always takes a little while to get back cool again. And by the time y'all get cool again, they got to go. So also it's important to me that, or y'all, when you do get with someone, that you look at how they were raised and what problems they had. If they didn't get therapy for them, you're going to deal with whatever trauma their mother or father that weren't together gave you. So I was really lucky to get with a girl like Raquel, and I look at how balanced her parents are, and then I understand why she's so balanced. But
can we pause for a quick second? And here's the reason why I want to interject, because what you just said is so important. And a lot of people understand that when people have arranged marriages, those families are actually studying the other family for stability, mental stability, financial stability, and that gives them the actual foundation to have a child that doesn't come through turmoil. And what you just said, her family is together. So when I was married for 20 years, Dame, on my wish list, first thing was that they believed in God. The second thing was that my wife-to-be parents were married and happy harmoniously for decades. My ex-wife parents were married for 50 years and still married today. And then the third thing was they supported my dream. And you know what? Our children all came out calm, cool, and collective, and we never had to worry about that. So I just wanted to insert how important of what you just said is that she came from a solid foundation. We don't understand how important a two-parent household is. So back to you, Dame. I just wanted to shed some light on that.
I get it. And again, like, you know, I have ex-wives that had very dysfunctional parents, and I get the blame for everything that their father did to them. And I'm nowhere near that guy. I deserve it. But it is what it is. So, you know, you learn those kind of things. But either way, if I see a man that doesn't take care of his family or looks at his job or his business as more important than his family, it's not a man I'm getting into business with. You know, a real boss is going to put their family before their business, not put your business before your family. And a real boss is going to architect to where the business doesn't have to suffer and your child does not have to not be with you to make money. But again, you know, one chapter of my life, I didn't look at things like that. But once you go through things and you can learn based on your own actual behavior pattern and algorithm, making the same mistake twice is insanity, dumb, and it's not me. So I've been my happiest now. I've never been this happy. Having my own companies built off me, my own money, watching my girl thrive, my children thrive. I get to go to school and take them to school and drop them off every day. You know, I get to go to the supermarket. It's funny that the things that a lot of people look at as chores and would prefer someone else to do, because I never got to have that, I find things that most people find laborious or laborious to be fun if I could be with my family. You know, anything with my family is fun, no matter what we're doing. So a lot of times I don't think people that haven't ever experienced having a family, they don't know what it is to have one. They don't know how to have one, but they don't know what they're missing. You know, I don't think anyone's ever had a family and said, I hate having a family. But I've seen people wish they had them, and I know how they act when they don't get that physical touch at a young age, you know, heart on chest. It's important. So I don't ever want my kids to feel nothing I've ever had to feel, really, other than joy. And I know, you know, there's traumatizing parts of life as part of the game. But I want to make sure that in between those times I can't control, that we appreciate and savor every single moment.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing better than having unconditional love from a child, and there's nothing better than giving unconditional love to a child. And I think if we can do more of that, Dame, we'd have a better universe, we would have a better community, and we would get away from a lot of this silliness. And I don't want to take up a lot of your time. If we can just get a couple of questions real quickly, if it'll be okay with you, answer a couple of questions. So Nick, can we just chime in and take 2 or 3 questions tops? And then we're going to conclude with Dame Dash and talk about the future and what we're working on together. And then we're going to let the Honorable Dame Dash, who's a man's man and a business person who puts God, family, and business in the proper vertical alignment. So the first question looks like here is from Evan from Chicago. Dame, he's asking, how much would it cost to start your own record label? He said, how much would it cost to start his own record label? And how would he go about doing it?
Is he the artist?
I presume so. I think he's the artist.
Some cost no money. All you gotta do is make the record and put it up. You got a label. Make the record, digitally put it out, and book yourself a show. Make yourself some merch. Make 100 t-shirts and perform until the crowd comes. Pause. Meaning the first time you perform, it might not be but 5 people there. You got to keep performing until there's at least 100, and then you go to a bigger place. But that doesn't cost money. Not that much.
Okay. So basically, he's got to create his record, put it out on a platform digitally, create 100 t-shirts. Even if you start out with 5 people the first time, persevere, and then just rinse and repeat until he gets to 100, and then he can take it to the next level.
Well, you buy the t-shirts, and then when he performs, they sell the t-shirts at the performance. The show ain't nothing but a pop-up store where people go to that love you to buy things that you make.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's the next question that we got, Nick, from our amazing audience here? Because we want to get in and talk about the future with Dame and let him go because he's been gracious to allow us to have time away from his family and his studio. We want to jump in and talk about American New and the great things you're doing on your own platform and how we're going to work side by side, hopefully, with Grab TV and as we land in Zanzibar. Any other questions out there, Nick, real quickly?
No other questions at the moment.
Okay. So what I like to do, Dame, can you give our audience a blueprint of how to be a boss? Can you give them 5 points that they got to know that is more mental before it is, tangible, that a lot of people miss the boat on in confidence?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to know how to dream, and you have to identify what you love so that, you do what you love so much because you love it that it doesn't feel like work, and you get really good at it because you're doing it so much. And then I would write it down exactly what your dream is, because that goes from from the dream dimension to another dimension. And also, if you could write it down, other people could read it. And, you'll find that if there's people that are agreeing or want exactly what you wrote down, that they'll fight with you. And then you make it happen, Well, what I do then is I get a vision board. And first, I get a picture of everything I'm going to buy when I make the amount of money that I think I'm going to make, that I know I'm going to make. So I might put a jet up there, island, a house, and blah, 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 everything I want. And then I put everything that I'm going to do to get that volume. And there's different kinds of dreams. But the dreaming I'm talking about is if it doesn't entail making enough money that your kids don't have to work, you got to keep dreaming bigger. And dreams don't cost $1. So why dream cheap? So after you write it down, then you make an octopus. I think I just made one for Steve Mack. See, what I do is I write things down all day in Sharpie and colored paper. I don't type a damn thing because I need to feel those strokes. Pause. That is crazy. But I need to over and over again. It's therapeutic. The more I write it, the more I know to play. With typing, you don't feel nothing. And then once you put it on paper, you put it on the vision board. I put it in my bathroom, usually my vision board, so I can look at it every time I go to the bathroom. And then I go make it happen. I go get my dream team and I get it done. And also,
how do you build your dream team? How do you build your dream team? Because that's what a lot of people fall short as solopreneurs who really don't have real businesses, even though, like you said, they can be on YouTube, IG making $100,000 a month, but they're individual and they say something wrong and they cut the switch and put them out of business. How do you, Dame, build your dream team, and what are the most important principles and components of that dream team?
Well, number one, everybody that works for me has to have their own dream, because I have to see you work for your dream so I know how hard you work on mine. If you ain't working on your own, then I can't expect you to work on mine. And, honestly, when I'm first meeting someone that I want to work with me, and usually like when you start a company, of course, if you could, but most people can't afford it, But when you do, you need a CEO, a CFO, a CMO. You need certain divisions, and that makes things a lot easier. But until that time, and you're interviewing people, I want to see your playlist. I want to know what music you're listening to. I want to know what websites you frequent. I want to know who your favorite designer is. I want to know who your favorite musical artist is, and that comes with the what you call it, your favorite book, and your favorite place to go. That music tells you a lot about a person's taste, fashion. Because I need to know what you can teach me. Because I don't want no one around me that can't teach me nothing. Even if they're super duper young, then I need to know exactly what the young people are doing. But if I ask you about fashion and you tell me Versace, then I'm not going to ask you about fashion anymore. You know, and I also want to know your movie. If I ask you about what your favorite website is, or social media, and it's World Star, that might not be the person for me. No disrespect to World Star, but I don't need that for business. And it's just a taste thing. I look for a certain level of taste. So the people that I have around me, if it's I'm paying them at that level, then I got to see what they did before. But if I'm molding somebody, then I look for elements where the person I'm teaching can teach me something at the same time. And if we both have a dream that coincides, while you're helping me, like a Nicolette, then I can go help you. So if you notice, Nicolette did all that videography, but she performed.
Did we lose? Did we lose, Dame?
It froze up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it froze up. Man, he was talking about some very important points right there. Let's see if we can reach back and get them unfrozen. Ask him if he can pop back in real quickly. Well, what Dame was really referring to is, like he was talking about, the artist that he brought with him to Houston, ladies and gentlemen, was a young artist named Nicolette, and she did all the videography for American New while it was broadcasting live on his network. Dame has built his own network, ladies and gentlemen, and he doesn't have to depend on YouTube, IG, Tubi, none of that. But as he talked about at Rice, he's invested millions of dollars to create his own network that actually broadcasts live from as a smartphone. It almost took me back to the Periscope days when the first live broadcast was, emitted on the platform with Periscope. So Dame, being the genius that he is, he's taken a lot of those concepts and made his own network. And what is going to happen is that we're going to work together to actually put our broadcast on Dame's broadcast. He literally just been shooting some events down in Vegas. He's shooting some events now in Houston. And hopefully we can get him back to wrap up and talk about that and to actually show you guys what the future is. And we're going to bring this amazing disruptive technology called Grab TV that is actually going to allow you to actually, anything that you see on a live broadcast, it can be a point of sale, as well as any type of live poll that you want to have transpire. We'll be able to poll live. I mean, not with something that somebody puts up like the Harris poll or the Gallup poll. Right now, this interview with Dame Dash, you could actually say what you feel about it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what's fly, which Dame has on, and you can actually buy that and have it drop to your house in 24 to 72 hours. So we wanted to have the capacity to talk about that real quickly as well. And hopefully we can get back. Oh, he said his battery died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It did the same thing that happens to you when yours die.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got another question in here too. If he wants to.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was a question for Dame, asking about the types of businesses he currently owns and invests in.
Okay. So he said he was going to try to get back on. But I can tell you from what we learned from Dame, and we were up close and personal with Dame. And as like Dame said, I sat back in the cut because I actually financed the majority of the Go Entrepreneur Tour. And I'm proud to say that because that's a legacy that I created for my family. So I can tell you right now, from what I gleaned and talking one-on-one with Dame several times over the 3-day weekend, is that the most important business that he's involved in right now is the broadcast business, because that's the biggest business. His next aspiration, which he's already began, he talked about owning a football team, in the NFL. So what he was talking about, we are so spooked and brain effed that we don't think that we can have the stuff that the other man has. And the other man has put a brain, F on you that you don't even attempt to be their competition. So one thing you're going to find about Dame is you get a chance to hear him on the positive side. Because a lot of times you hop on these shows and they depict Dame as this angry, bitter, over the top, egotistical person. And he's actually completely the opposite, ladies and gentlemen. From my observation of Dame, he's actually a laid back guy, very soft spoken, and very sincere about his love for his people. And he believes that anything that you can dream, you can architect, you can make. So the businesses that I've learned that he's in right now is, like I said before, he's really big. What we're going to talk about is the educational front. Dame right now is part of an organization of 100 Black principals across the country that he and his wife, Raquel, and their son, Dusko, they have written educational books that they actually go into inner city communities and elevate the mindset. And then on top of that, Dame is taking on a daunting task of reinvigorating Gary, Indiana. And one of the reasons why he's doing that is because Gary actually sits on Lake Michigan. It is prime real estate, which most people don't know. I think we got him back. I see his beloved Raquel getting him back queued on. Thanks a lot, Raquel. So I don't want to answer the rest of those questions for Dame, but that's one of the most important questions you can ask. Where should we be putting our chips in equity and ownership? And Dame is going to be coming to Zanzibar with us for the grand opening of our 220 luxury residential resort that we're opening up on specifically Martin Luther King's birthday. So Nick, if you can pull Dame back on, we'll answer that question and we'll talk about his passion for Gary and his passion for education, and then we'll let him go and get back to his beloved family.
All right. Yeah, just making sure he's settled in there first.
Yeah, as soon as he give us the thumbs up that he's ready to rock and roll, we'll do that. So this is the thing. We talked about access to execution, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, you're getting the behind the scenes access, but Dame is giving you the executables that you need to do that you're not going to get in a university, other than you being a doctor, other than you being an engineer. Technology, money, and business is taught right here by successful entrepreneurs. Thanks, Dame, for coming back on and getting your other phone connected. The person had a question: what types of businesses do you currently own and invest in? What you most excited about? I kind of gave them a little peek about your Gary project and your principles project, but hey, man, share with them, because I think that's the biggest impact your legacy is going to have. I might be wrong, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, learning about Gary's history through the Senator Eddie Millen, who is now the mayor, I understand how important and the opportunities there are out there. Something happened out there which called white flight. Gary was where there was the first Black mayor, the first Black political party, the Jacksons, all type of stuff. Even the lady that signed the Beatles is from there. And, it's 30 minutes away from Chicago. So for me, it's about, number one, the average annual income in Gary is like 28 grand.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's about doing things that provide jobs. It's also a food desert. So we're going to build a supermarket. We're going to build some factories. We're going to build some workforce housing. Talking to them today about transitional rehab facilities. We're going to re-engineer things and buy up the whole shit. And, the whole thing is we want white people there. We just want to be the landlords. So we'll make Williamsburg, because sometimes it's hard for Black people to go back to a place where they've been traumatized or heard about, but white people go anywhere where there's a deal. And new windows on old buildings always makes a town look dope. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in Gary to do a lot of different things. And we have a mayor in there that really cares about the history and the fabric of the people and the culture. And they just love Gary. And he's willing to do things that are innovative and logical. And the mayor that knows how to pass laws, because he's a senator, is a very powerful mayor. So there's a lot that we're going to do. And then we're going to go into other markets with the same program and just keep doing it. Now, as it relates to my business, like I said, I make an octopus. I didn't get to the octopus part.
Yeah, your technology went out. Yeah, explain to them what those tentacles represent as an ecosystem.
Well, the head is, whatever your brand is. And then there should be at least 8 legs. Mine, or my family's, 1, media, American New, 2, music, which is Blue Rock, 3, CEO, which is fashion,
Yeah, man. The gear you had on this past weekend was all fly. Hopefully you can give me a couple of pair of those kicks, brother.
Yeah, the thing about it, they keep selling out. That's why I don't have any on my feet right now. I'm telling you, I got the CEO glasses, all this shit. And then, so that's CEO. Then there's the book division. So we do, Applefish, but there's books there. We make magazines, comic books. Then there's Applefish, which is our kids channel division for all children, anything kids. And then there's a liquor vertical, a cannabis vertical. There's a real estate vertical. Wait, hold on. And then there's always philanthropy, which is what I'm doing, which I just told you about. So it's the real estate, the philanthropy, the music, the media, the fashion, the publications, the cannabis. Oh, there's always art. I always have an art gallery. There's art, and there's the liquor, the cannabis. There's about 13 verticals. There should be 8. What I'm doing is insanity. But the thing about an octopus is every leg has its own brain. So it's important, the head will have to run things until it can start to give each leg its own brain. And what happens with an octopus is if it don't work out, one of those legs, you can cut it off and another one will grow back, but it won't affect the head. So it's important to have all these different verticals. So when one's not working, the other is. But you got to pause, always respect, always protect the head. You got to protect the head. So that's how I usually develop my conglomerates. One business, and I would suggest somebody start with one business. But to me, one business has so many verticals and every vertical has so many verticals. So for music, there's an octopus for music. For fashion, there's an octopus for fashion. For every movie that we make, there's going to be a soundtrack. There's going to be merch. There's going to be, one important vertical is touring. So that's another vertical as well, touring. So, I have a lot of different businesses, all based on things that inspire me, things that I would be a consumer as opposed to, being the person that's, selling the work. I'd be buying the work. So, and if I didn't enjoy all of this, having 13 verticals would make no sense. But every single thing that I had and I told you about as it relates to a leg on my octopus, I can show you something tangible. My comic books. Yeah, we got comic books too. So, that's what I'm on. That's the type of time I'm on. Conglomerate time.
And that's the way we all should think at the end of the day. What are you excited about with us coming together and working together in Zanzibar? What are you excited about and coming back to the table potentially and doing a great joint venture partnership with Grab TV and ending in Zanzibar? Can you talk to that? And then we're gonna let you go. And again, man, we appreciate it. I'm actually gonna be down in Florida. Hopefully you're gonna take us up. My partner who owns the radio station down there doing the Heart and Soul concert right there outside of Orlando. So can you share with them what you're excited about? What did you learn about us that attracted you to us, that even wanted you to continue to stay engaged with us after we initially met? that the people can show that we share a lot of the same principles. We just come from a different viewpoint, but we get into the center at the same time.
Well, as it relates to the Grab TV, on my first channel, Dame Dash Studios, I had built something where while you were watching the movies or the content, you could buy what you see. But the thing is, it never worked. And Home Shopping Network does it, but they don't do it with content. So when I saw that there was the ability to just watch something, and while you're, that's how I had it, like where while you're watching, you could buy what you see without disengaging. So, you know, when I saw what y'all got, you know me, I'm just like, does it work? Because that's all I want to know, if it works. But if it works, then yeah, I'm definitely messing with it, but look like it worked. But it's a part of, you know, I just showed you all these different verticals. And to me, retail should be television. So like if there's ever a pandemic again, going to the store should be simple as looking at, you know, TV or a music video, pressing a button, and you just buy what's inspiring you in real time. But that's how I always looked at it. So it's like I have these ideas, but I don't have the bandwidth to build them. And sometimes it takes 10 or 15 years for people to actually do what I've been asking. But that's why as soon as I hear or see it, I get it real quick because I've been looking for it, you know? So if this works, it'll definitely be implemented into America New, you know? And I look forward to that. And then also with Zanzibar, everything African, you know, I went down to Ghana and it was challenging to do business. And I was amazed that you could do business out there. And, you know, I hate the fact that, like everything else, Africa is looked at as a poor country, and it's a continent. It's not a country. And when I went out there, I found that it was the richest in natural resources. But the problem was, if I wanted an African mango, it had to get shipped to Ireland, and you had to buy an African mango from someone in Ireland. And it seemed like the Chinese was buying up everything out there. And I just was like, at some point, this got to roll, this got to give. And there has to be a reason why they make Africa look like the poorest place on the planet when it's the richest. And if we could do anything aspirational out there and really get it done, then I want to be a part of that. And of course, I think it needs to be documented and covered so we can control our hieroglyphics, which are our videos and our pictures. And, you know, because there were computers back in the Egypt days, just nobody knows how to use them. Nobody understands the technology, you know? So I want to make sure that, you know, 1,000 years that people see really what the DNA of love and watching a cycle go from us being Moors and being the most powerful to us being slaves to coming back and one more time running shit again and actually being able to be alive and be a part of that war to make this happen. So in ending, my goal, as when you remember Dame Dash, you know, my face with my shades might be on a coin. And it might be like, okay, that's like Alexander the Great or Julius Caesar, but the black version that doesn't get killed young. You know, someone that's known for fighting for country and for culture, but also for aspiration. You know, a king, not an entertainer.
Man, I love it. You know what? I love what you said. Generals fight with generals, not soldiers. And I think what you're seeing here, well, I don't think, I know that what you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing two generals come together to make the world better for our community unapologetically, because we don't need anybody else, because we are generals. And we're going to document every leg of the tour to Zanzibar, because I broke the code, Dane. I own it. I got equity. I showed it to you. You were inside our private exclusive presentation, and we're going to be honored to work side by side with you, and most importantly, bring the education that you are putting in the books with Raquel and Dusko. We're going to do that in Zanzibar because we actually have our own 0 through 8th grade school for indigenous people. We also have our own clinics that they don't have to pay anything for, Dame. So when you come there with us in January and document it on American New, we're going to break ground that we're going to have Africa for Africans and support it by Black Americans to dominate that space like we should, like we did back in the day. So, man, I want to thank you for our audience. I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your contribution to the community, because when your phone went out, I said a lot of times when I see you on platforms, they try to depict you as this angry Black man, but they don't know that your heart is for the people and you actually out there battling side by side against these devils and you're beating them. So they want to only portray a negative image of you or being overconfident. Like you said, what is overconfident? That don't even make any sense. So on behalf of DJ the Money Coach and the POM POM Lifestyle, which is plenty of money and peace of mind, Dame, I want you to come join us on the beaches of the world in Zanzibar. And we look forward to partner up with you with Grab TV. And hey, man, if you got any parting words you want to leave with our audience, we want to thank you for the blessing. And we look forward to working with you side by side, my friend.
Looking forward to it. You know, my thing is just dream. Visualize the perfect dream, and never should you dream about having a good job. Dream about being a boss and giving a good job, you know, and I'll leave it on that.
Hey,
all right,
with that said,
appreciate everything and good luck.
Appreciate you guys. Nick, roll tape. We out here, and we wish you guys health, and you just been exposed to the best thing.
All right, everybody, have a good night. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Join us on the Beaches of the World Club. Have a good night.
You're witnessing right now is cooperative economics. And what do I mean by that? We have all the talent, intelligence to make trillions of dollars, but we never come together to work as a people. We got to be able to put our egos aside.
Again, I'm about definitely collective economics and definitely collective economics as it relates to cultures. But if we going to be all in one city, at one point or some point, we got to be the landlords. They could be here, but we got to own the bricks so we can make the laws
And work together. As my mentor, Dr. George Fraser, says, we should be the #1 employers of Black people on the planet, but we're not. And right now, what you're going to see tomorrow with Dame Dash, with diversity, with Derek, you're going to see us all working together.
What's happening, everybody? This is DJ the Money Coach coming at you. What you're seeing today on this video is equity and ownership, and we actually have brought a group of business owners who actually have become investors with us because they see that I own over 7 figures worth of equity and ownership in land and business and property here in Zanzibar. So my question is, how much equity and ownership do you have? Are you the real deal, or are you just trying to sell me the sizzle of what you don't have? Hit the link, join me in the masterclass, and you'll get the access to what these business owners in the United States have too. Join the POM POM Lifestyle movement. Plenty of money, peace of mind. Join me on the Beaches of the World Club in Zanzibar. I'll see you next time. See right here. This is the future, baby. 2027, over 5,000 beautiful units, from residential to commercial to townhouses to single-family houses, sports, fields, restaurants, all of that great stuff. So come on out here and let you see what paradise looks like from the top of the
When we go back to the history, we find out that the first people in these islands were the pure Africans who came from different parts of the mainland Africa. And this is the time you need to have an expert coming to pollinate the flowers. Because bees, butterflies, wind, rain, whatever cannot pollinate vanilla. Very important, yes. And actually,
Nice to see you. My name is Mr. Coco Chanel. Mr. Coco Chanel. But the real name, my name is Easy.
Easy.
Yeah, Easy. So where are you from?
USA.
USA, United States of America. Yes,
Remember, we were here last year.
That's good.